Please start.
Good evening, my dear students. We stopped our previous class while I was informing about non-bank financial organizations, companies. Under that, there were RBI regulated companies, SEBI regulated, National Housing Bank regulated companies, and Department of Company Affairs regulated companies. 4 categories were there. Out of the 4 categories, we have covered during our last class about RBI regulated non-banking financial companies. Today, we are talking about a SEBI regulated NBFCs. What are they? There are 3 different NBFCs were there, which are regulated by SEBI. First is Venture Capital Fund. Often you come across this word and you go to the papers, particularly the business page, be it a Telugu paper or national newspaper, the business page generally, you find across these terms. Venture Capital Fund, it is the capital. The idea of establishing a venture capital fund is they will have certain amount of money. The money will be exclusively given to help a startup company, a company with an innovative idea. They advance this money to the company to develop the product as well as to market the product. After that, the money will be repaid by the company. It's a kind of a loan it gives. It's why exclusivity is that venture capital fund, wherever some kind of innovation is there, less profitability in the product, such kind of a cases for the new products, financial provision will be given to such companies. New industries also, similar kind of a category, the new industries also come under the category, like startups and developing a product with an innovative idea. For all these things, venture capital fund advances money. If government is giving some kind of a subsidy, for the remaining amount, venture capital fund gives the advances the remaining. The very idea is that any product is there which is of value, new idea. Instead of going without capital, no, the idea will not take shape. To develop an idea into a product form, some kind of a capital is needed. Banks can also give money, but banks see the financial statements of the company. If they are making money, then bank gives a loan to such kind of companies. If any company is bleeding, losses are there to the company, seeing that balance sheet, no bank will give them. In that case, few people put together, they have saved their earnings using their long-term earnings into a development of a product, and such kind of an operation stops in the middle. Some kind of a financial assistance is needed. Venture capital fund comes there exactly. Every year, there are venture capitalists. Venture capital fund, of course, this is a NBFC. Apart from that, individual entrepreneurs are people who are having money with a passion to promote new products. They themselves, together they form into a organization. That's not an NBFC, but together they form an organization. Some capital they keep with themselves, and they invite new ideas, presenting the new ideas for the future entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs come, they present their ideas to the panel. Whatever the venture capitalists feel that it could be a future product wherein a company can be started, production can be started, wherein they can earn money. If they think like that, they immediately invest in that product. They give monetary assistance, they give technical assistance, they give even marketing assistance also. So that is the role of venture capital. The main point you need to see, venture capital fund is an exclusive company meant to support the new products that are coming into the market. Then merchant bankers also come under where they are not scheduled banker, where they are not a commercial banker. Such kind of a merchant bankers, be it a private banker, that also comes under NBFC category. SEBI regulates it. Here, their sole role is not taking deposits and no advancing loans. That is not these kind of merchant bankers' role is not that. Taking the money from the public as a deposit and then lending it to the public, that's not the main role. Here, main role is, I told you, while any company is issuing an IPO, a merchant banker will be there in the middle as a financial intermediary. Entire issue operations will be handled by this financial organization called banker. Merchant banker's main role is to handle IPOs, to coordinate subscription and then collecting the money, handing the money, thus subscribed money to the company. This is the main role. The second role is whatever shares, whatever percent of shares goes unsubscribed, these merchant bankers also act as an underwriters. They buy remaining share, unsubscribed remaining share of the company will be bought by the merchant bankers. That is the underwriter activity. These two are the main rules. Third is they provide advisory services. Advisory services to the industries, companies who want to go for IPO. They study factors like whether the market is ready for an IPO. If a premium is to be placed on the share, how much premium is advisable? Such kind of a market research will be done by this merchant banker, for which they charge a certain amount of money as a consultancy charges. That is another kind of an income for the merchant banker. So here merchant banker is doing just like a bank, not excluding the activity of a deposit collection and then now lending the money. Their main role is coordinating an IPO, providing advisory services to the industries, and then underwriting the IPO. These three are the roles. A third one under SEBI regulated NBFC is stockbroking company. Just like any other stockbroker agency, stockbroking company, certain capital will be there with the stockbroking company, functional under SEBI. Here, they advance money to the investors to buy shares. It's a very short-term condition. Short-term, if any investor wants to buy a certain amount of shares, then this stockbroking company can give loan to those people so that those people, they facilitate the people to buy the shares in the market. At the same time, with interest, these people, stockbroking company collects back the amount from the persons who have taken loans. These are the three NBFCs operational under SEBI guidance. We are moving to National Housing Board regulated NBFCs. These non-banking financial organizations are fully under the control of National Housing Bank. Their exclusive function is that they finance the purchase or construction of houses. Housing is the main point here. They advances loans to either for purchase of a house or any house construction is going on. For such companies also, these NBFCs give loans. That means here nothing. Categorization of loans, that means no, for what activity they are contributing, they are financing, that particular activity is being governed by that related organization, superior organization. And somebody is loan money to buying of the shares, SEBI controls. When for housing, we are giving loan, Housing Bank, National Housing Bank controls it, or any money leasing activities, and then no asset financing, refinancing. For such kind of an activity, RBI controls. That is the simple division of work based on the nature of operation they are giving loan to. The next one, last one, is Department of Company Affairs Regulated, NBFC. Here Nidhi companies. Nidhi is a company, NBFC. This accepts, just like a bank, it accepts deposits as well as it gives lending. But here, administration is controlled by Department of Company Affairs. Why it's not called a bank? It is registered as a company. These companies are governed by the rules of Department of Company Affairs. Finance is involved in this, loans and then deposits. This particular part is governed by the RBI. So Nidhi is one company which is governed by both Department of Company Affairs and RBI. That is the uniqueness of this NBFC. Nidhi is a company. It functions like a bank, but it is different from the bank main. It is registered as under Companies Act, it is registered. So Department of Company Affairs governs the administration. Finance is involved and finance is governed by RBI. Well, NBFCs, we have closed different categories of NBFCs, their role that we have completed. Now, we are moving to what are the terms now you come across in trading operations. One term which comes as face value is one term. What is a face value? Face value is the actual value of a share. That is the face value. Share can be a 1 rupee valued, 100 rupees or 10 rupees. Likewise, there is when company is formed, these many shares, or when IPO is getting released, and each share original value will be something. That original value of the share is called a face value. Then there is a term called issue price. Issue price is, it can be at face value also, the share can be issued, or a premium can be added to the face value, and then they can be issued to the public. When issue price may be equivalent to the face value, or issue price may be more than the face value. When issue price is more than the face value, it can be understood as face value plus some premium amount. Premium will be decided by the company balance sheet, how the company is performing, how much money it's getting to the shareholders, what is the movement of their share price now in the market. All these factors decide how much additional you can charge from the subscriber. The amount beyond face value, issue price minus the face value amount becomes the premium amount. So issue price is face value of the share plus premium on the share put together becomes the face value. Suppose 10 rupees is the face value, but you are issuing is at 160 rupees a share. Issue price is 160. That means 150 rupees premium you have added to the face value, and then IPO is released. Then dividend. What is a dividend? Dividend is the total profit got by the company during the year, financial year. If it is equally divided among the shareholders, how much money you get is called dividend. Dividend is like, if you have to understand, dividend is like bonus. But dividend is, it is dependent on the amount of profit the company gets. Here, one point you need to remember very carefully: dividend will not apply to the premium amount. Dividend applies to the face value of the share only. That is the point now which you need to really keep in your mind. Then shares now, generally you keep them in the stock market. People buy the shares and then they get the money. There are various ways of movement of the shares, trading of the shares. One of the methods is short selling. Short selling means company, person A buys the shares from person B and sells to person C. He is not keeping the shares. He is not buying the shares for himself. He is facilitating transfer of shares through him from A to C. He is only mediating. He is buying from somebody, selling immediately. Thus, he is getting small amount of money he is earning through the operations. That is called short selling. He gets a commission. It's not the difference in price. There will be an agreement. If you buy and sell the share, no, I will give you this much commission. A certain minor amount of percentage will be charged as a commission on the value of the share traded. That is his livelihood. This kind of an operation also works in stock exchanges. This is short selling. Seller sells securities by borrowing from another person. That is it. Thus, he is earning a short commission. Then, what is a bull trading? What is a bear trading? Bull trading is buyer buys more shares with the expectation that the price would increase in future years, so that now with a motive of profit in future, expecting that the share value would increase in future years, instead of buying 10 shares with this kind of a speculation, he buys 100 shares. There will be an artificial demand for such kind of shares during that time. So many persons generally, if they're ordinary buying, everybody buying about 10 shares, 100 shares, fine. Instead of buying 100 shares, which is no reasonable business, he wants 1,000 shares are to be bought immediately. There will be surge pricing. Pricing also increases. Shares are less. Many people are now buying, trying to buy the shares with an expectation that the share value increases in next 1 month. When share prices increase, he would again sell in the market. Thus, he earns a lot of profit from dealing with the shares. With that kind of an expectation, an artificial demand for buying of the shares is seen. That is called bull sharing, bull trading. Opposite of it is bear trading. Bear trading is people who have got shares with a thinking that in the future year, future months, the share value will drop so that they get a loss. If they come into that kind of a thinking, they sell away all the shares which they have got suddenly in the market. When they are releasing the shares, a lot of shares are getting released. There are not many buyers in the market. These money of the shares, these shares, availability of the shares would be there, but buyers would be less. So the demand for the shares will get reduced. This is called a bull trading. This is called a bear trading. Bear generally looks down. Bull generally looks up. That's the significance of keeping the names for that. Bear is cautious. Bull is it's aggressive. That's the bull trading. That's the bear trading. Right. There is a name called securitization. That's another word. Securitization is converting the existing assets into securities. You have an asset, you are selling it. Selling is not in cash. Selling is not in the farm. That amount you are getting, you are investing in securities. That then securities generally get you a stable interest, and then now you can deal in the market whenever you want money. You can put the securities in stock exchange immediately. On that day, you can sell. You can get immediate cash. So converting your assets into securities is called a securitization. Here is an example. You have to recollect from your earlier classes. NPS, banks accrue NPS. NPA value is about 1 lakh. Let us say one particular account, an NPA is to the tune of 1 lakh. What it does, they sell this NPA to some buyer, and the amount will be converted into securities. What securities, what they do, whoever is buying, again, no, I'm talking about a bad bank. Bad bank is a method is an initiative. The government thought to recover NPS. NPS are sold by regular commercial banks to bad bank. Bad bank buys the NPA. And then what bad bank does? It reduces and the securities will be in small bunches. They again offer in the market. Public purchase securities of the bad bank by investing money. There will be some attraction will be there when they are releasing it. Probably higher profits or no security, or there will be insurance provision. Many things will be there by which a person can attract the securities. Or people who are having black money, when government is not imposing, asking the source of the money, black money can be converted into buying a security offered by a bank. What happens? You have 100 rupees. You cannot show it to anybody. Suppose government is not asking and gives you a provision to buy a security with the 100 rupees black money you got. You buy it, that becomes your asset. Incidentally, that also automatically got converted into white money. Then the last term in that is buyback. Yesterday, today also, if you have gone through the papers, you would have found a news item stating that Infosys is buying back the shares. Infosys buyback is to the volume of 18,000 crores. This is a news item. What is this buyback? Buyback is the company buys back their shares which were issued to the public. Public subscribers, each person will have 10 shares, 15 shares, 100 shares. They want to buy back the shares from the subscribers. What happens when they are buying back? Initially, the promoters, let us say promoters has got a share of 22%. By buying back the shares by 8%, another buyback issue, 8% of the shares are brought back from the market. The company share account will increase to 22 to it goes to 30%. Whenever a promoter share percentage increases, they will have more say in the company matters. The decision depends on the major shareholders, their willingness. That is the advantage. Company wants to take a strong decision somewhere. If the company has got a 51% share with them, remaining 49% with the public or financial institutions, company will have a say. They need to depend upon the concurrence of the shareholders because majority shareholding is by the company. That is the advantage of buyback. Buyback, there is a additional advantage with buyback. Buyback, when they are buying back, automatically the confidence of the shareholders that will be continued in the performance of the company. When nobody is buying the shares at that rate, But company is giving a wonderful rate, and now by buying back your share means no, the performance of the company, the confidence will be, the people will have confidence in the performance of the company or company policies. With this, we have completed the stock related capital market. I am going to keeping the requirement or no major areas the civil service touching in the preliminary. I have noted some areas like there are institutions like World Bank, World Trade Organization, and then IMF. From these area, every year, roughly 4 questions are coming. When somebody has analyzed a 10 years economics question paper data, they have identified 5 significant areas wherein 2 to 4 questions are coming from each area. Approximately 20 questions are coming from economics, including current and static, every year. So instead of focusing on the static information, I am switching over to static plus dynamic information of those areas where there is a definite possibility of getting some questions. Economics it may look difficult, but as per some analysis, about if 20 questions are given in economics portion in prelims, 11 to 12 questions will be easily solvable questions with the knowledge with static as well as current developments, without any confusion, without any getting deviation. If you are carefully, if you are now confident about your preparation in the conceptual information, then 11 to 12 questions can be definitely solved. But 6 to 7 questions, a lot of confusion is there. You need to think a lot, and you need to have now comprehensive information on various things so that it will be difficult. People suggest if you are not really confident about a question, leave the question and then know what can be solved. You be content with that. Do not take many chances where a lot of thinking or total knowledge in the entire subject is needed. There, you better avoid a question. So one such area is World Trade Organization and IMF, International Monetary Fund, and then World Bank. I'm talking about a World Bank. In 1947, 1939, 45, during the World War, after the World War, there was a lot of damage to the many countries, economy of the many countries, particularly European countries. Then a conference was held in Bretton Woods, that's the name of the village, near Washington, D.C., USA. World Bank and IMF they got originated, these are the twin sisters, they got originated from the Bretton Woods Conference. That's why they are called a Bretton Woods organizations. Don't get confused. Wherever now Bretton Woods organization, instead of directly stating that about a World Bank or IMF, if the question states one of the Bretton Woods organizations has got this function, likewise statement comes up, you be ready. It is either about World Bank or about IMF, but apart from these two, Bretton Woods is not related to any other thing, right? So, Bretton Woods town in the New Hampshire of USA in 39-45 during that time, 44 nations attended this meeting, including India. India was then under British rule. And 3 international organizations were formed then. One is International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, IBRD, International Bank for Reconstruction and Development. The bank is now being called World Bank. Again, under World Bank, there are 5 organizations. Out of the 5 organizations, again, IBRD is one of the organizations, but basically the original IBRD got converted into World Bank. And second is International Monetary Fund. Now, World Bank has got 189 members. Countries are members in World Bank. Same number, whoever is a member of World Bank, they will be members in the IMF also, International Monetary Fund also. The functions of World Bank, function of the IMF, they are different. The differences also you need to know, because as a statement question, if you are strong in the concept of a World Bank, the functioning of the World Bank and IMF, you would be able to easily answer that. Then World Bank, subsequently World Bank, IBRD, that conference, as a repercussion of the conference in Bretton Woods, in Washington, DC, World Bank is started in 1944. The original 40 to 50, the function given to World Bank was to help the torn countries wherever economy was in a bad shape due to the World War. World Bank was meant to help them to recover the economy of those European countries. Then in 50s, 50 to 60, there was a shift from World Bank main function. They were concentrating on European countries. 50s, 60s, World Bank started concentrating on Asia and then now Africa. Why? These happen to be the developing countries, underdeveloped countries, and poor countries, who definitely needs a kind of financial support. Any bank support is required. Where poverty is more, where development is less, where countries need to develop to catch up to the progress of any developed country, their financial support is required. That is why they focus on Asian countries, focus on African countries was there in 50s, 60s. Their main criteria is they fund the they fund the projects of governments, and even with a government guarantee, private companies also, they give long-term funds to fund assistance to governments and government-supported projects. Projects have to have a relevance in social welfare. That means for a major road project, a major hydel project, energy project, that should have a bearing on the welfare of the people. It should improve the living conditions of the people substantially. Whatever the difference is there between the developed countries and developing countries, any project, any major work is planned to achieve a significant growth so that the livelihood of the people dependent on that, such kind of a projects World Bank gives loans. So what is the, how money will be, World Bank gets the money. World Bank, the member countries contribute money to the World Bank, and they will also, whenever a project is there, whenever their requirement is there, they again draw the money from the World Bank. 5 kinds of currencies are allowed in the World Bank and in IMF also. US, that means dollar, UK pound, European euro, and Japan yen. Now, recently, China's renminbi is also added. These 5 currencies form a major part in the total World Bank chest, either World Bank chest or IMF.
Shall we join again, sir? Meeting will end.
Yes, madam.
Please, please. Students, please join again.